Hello and welcome to 10 for 10, 10 sports topics with the News 10 sports team. I am sports director Griffin Haas, here with sports anchor and reporter Brian Rudman. And we start in the world of horse racing, where history was made this past weekend in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Cherie DeVaux becomes the first female trainer in a race that's been run for a long time.
Yeah, it was
over 100 years, 152
years. Yeah.
The first female trainer to ever win the Kentucky Derby. That would be history and newsworthy in itself, on its own merit. But also, of course, she is a Saratoga Springs native. She's from here. And so a local trainer is the first female trainer to ever win the Kentucky Derby. And it was an incredible race where Golden Tempo goes off at 23-1.
Yeah.
A long shot in this race, and comes from the back of the pack.
Yeah.
And all the way to the front and makes a late charge. It wasn't like, sometimes there are closers, but it wasn't like it was a tight field and then all of a sudden it was one move. It was a slow and steady and quick, charge to the front from Golden Tempo. An incredible job by jockey Jose Ortiz, just carving out a perfect ride and getting the most out of Golden Tempo. And it's been cool to see Cherie DeVaux, who we've interviewed a bunch of times here and at Saratoga, getting the national spotlight, doing a lot of national shows, getting a lot of recognition, a lot of deserved recognition for making history.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's well-deserved recognition. I mean, it's awesome. Whenever history is made in that sense, it's really cool to see, and especially when it's someone local, right? We talked about it when Jeff Hoffman was in the World Series. Anytime someone local gets to do something on such a national stage, it's really, really cool to see. And, we've interviewed Cherie DeVaux a handful of times. She's always nothing but kind to us whenever we need to talk to her up at Saratoga. And, to see someone local do something like this and, it was an incredible race to watch. Golden Tempo came out of nowhere to win it, and seeing the video of her reaction throughout the race was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was an incredible video. If you haven't seen it, go find it. She's kicking her feet and going nuts.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. I mean, it's a race that any trainer wants to win. It's a really hard, race to win, and
huge field,
and for her to pull that off was incredible. And now we look towards the Belmont here, because Cherie DeVaux announced, we're recording this on Thursday, she announced on Wednesday that Golden Tempo will not run in the Preakness,
right? Which
is becoming more of a trend, and it's becoming it's becoming a problem in the sport, not because it's anybody's fault in terms of the trainers or anything like that. They're doing what's best for the horses, but 3 of the now 5 champions, the last 5 Kentucky Derby champions, have skipped the Preakness.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 weeks between the race, and that has, purists will say that's what makes it so hard to win those races, is because there is such a short turnaround. I think that on the flip side of that, you see other sports that have adjusted their schedules as the sports have changed or demands of the athletes have changed. Things change. Yeah. And if you want to, not everything that they were doing back then is always the right thing to do.
Right.
So if you want to protect the horses, I think the schedule is going to have to change to give them some more time, because it doesn't appear that many, if any, trainers are going to put those kinds of horses back in races in 2 weeks. It's become now, usually these horses take at least a month off. Now, maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe it's a month, but the schedule is going to have to be tweaked, because now, otherwise we'll never see a Triple Crown winner again. And again, it should be difficult. They shouldn't make it easy, but it's for the safety of the horses, I think it's the right move. But now she's going to be looking towards the Belmont, which obviously here in Saratoga, so that's going to be quite a buzz.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be it was me and Tommy in here on Saturday once she won. We kind of looked at each other and said, all right, well, we know what the lead storyline going into the Belmont's going to be. And so we're really looking forward to that. And, when it comes to the Preakness and the schedule, it's, DeVaux said it's supposed to be hard. That's, the point of it is to go for a Triple Crown. It's an incredibly difficult feat. But we've seen the results, not only for the horse's health, but we saw the results last year with Sovereignty. Skip the Preakness, came out, dominated the Belmont, had a great summer at Saratoga. So, it seems as though a lot of these trainers are going to continue to make those moves where you run the Derby, skip the Preakness, come back for the Belmont, regardless of win or lose for a lot of these horses. So, it'll be interesting to see how this schedule develops. But, yeah, going into the Belmont, it's going to be really, really exciting to have, Cherie back in her hometown with one of the main storylines going into the big race.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I think no matter what, this was probably the right decision, but I'm sure for her, there's also, she probably wants this horse at its best going into that weekend. I'm sure that race would mean a lot for her to win the Belmont at Saratoga. We've talked to, Chad Brown about what it would mean because he's from here and it means a little bit more.
Yeah.
And also, it's about the number one priority is the horse.
Yeah.
But what also they probably won't say in terms of owners and anything like that is that it's also about, making sure that they're in the best position to win and capitalize.
Yeah.
And that's a part of it also. You have a lot better chance of winning one of the two if you take that rest than if you try to push it and maybe you come up empty-handed after that. So, but I do think, Sovereignty is a great example, or we'll see what Golden Tempo has in store. But Sovereignty was would be a Triple Crown type contending horse.
Yes.
That was just a dominant horse that we'll never know because they didn't do it. But listen, I'm not saying they need to drastically change it, but I think something has to be done because I do think that you want, you want to be going into that third leg of the Triple Crown with it at stake or having that possibility on the table. So it's going to be very exciting. Very happy for Cherie, and we're going to be. Belmont's got some extra buzz now.
Oh yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, now to a topic everyone is thrilled to talk about, and that's the NBA playoffs. Brian. We'll start with the Knicks. I'm pretty happy right now. The New York Knicks are up 2-0 in their series with the Philadelphia Sixers. Now, the last time we were here, the series had not yet been closed out with the
I think it
Hawks.
had. We just
talked about it.
We had just gotten that dominant 140 to 89.
That had just happened. I was thinking, and we yes, correct. And then we were waiting to see the Celtics Sixers winner, which we will get to in a second, even though we're going to be talking a little bit about it right now. Listen, there's a lot of sports going on, and my brain can only take so much and remember so much. So sometimes I need a young whippersnapper like Brian to remind me. Either way, they carried that performance over. They win 140-89 in that game 6. And then in game 1 with Philadelphia, it was a bludgeoning. The Knicks win 137-98. Very similar in terms of just everything was rolling. I mean, OG was 18 points on 7 of 8 shooting. Towns 7 of 11. Bridges 7 of 10. Jalen Brunson had 35, 12 of 18. Jalen Brunson, Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports Radio, Fox Sports 1. He's he's a take guy. And wants to get off his takes and, get people to react and click on it and all that stuff. He said going into the series that Jalen Brunson is the 4th best player in this series. Knicks Sixers. One of the craziest takes I've ever heard in my entire life. And it's a part of his thing. Like, he is not a Brunson guy. He thinks Brunson's too small and doesn't play enough defense to be the best player on a championship team. And we'll see if that's true or not. That can be true without being ridiculous. If you want to say Joel Embiid when he plays, which he has a problem doing, okay, fine. He's a dominant player. I get it. He then had OG Anunoby, who I think OG Anunoby is one of the most underrated players in basketball. He's not better than Jalen Brunson. And then he had Tyrese Maxey. He's not better than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson had 27 points in the first half of game 1.
It's a good formula.
And I kept saying to, I think it was to you were with me that night, I believe, or was it Tommy? No, it was Tommy. It was Tommy. Again, I have no brain. I kept saying, the fourth best player in the series is 27 points. The fourth best player is one of the more ridiculous takes I've ever heard in my entire life. But just wanted to touch on that. They played as good of a game as you could have possibly asked. Their defense was incredible. Joel Embiid was crying about fouls, even though he said that he was saying Jalen Brunson gets all the calls. He shot one more free throw than Jalen Brunson. Don't tell him that though. He should just continue to try to not score the basketball. He just tries to get fouled every single possession. He's not looking to score. He's looking to get fouled every single time. Keep trying that, buddy, when you can play. And Maxey was not great. Now going into game 2, shocking, Joel Embiid couldn't play. Never seen it before. Joel Embiid missing a big game. Can't stay healthy. Hip ankle injury. Shout out Embiid. This one was more of a struggle, but you can't really explain it. But a lot of times when, especially in the NBA, a team loses one of their best players or their best player, and you think this game's going to be a cakewalk, and it just never ends up being that way. Whether it's the mentality of the Knicks thinking we've got this without him, I don't know what exactly it is. Can't explain it, but those things happen a lot. And that's kind of the case here. They got down 2 early. Paul George was shooting the lights out. And they just couldn't. The Sixers were hot for like 3 quarters, and they just ran out of gas.
Yeah,
I mean they were playing above their skis, and the Knicks just kind of whittled them down. And Karl Anthony Towns only played 27 minutes because he was in foul trouble early, and they didn't have Mitchell Robinson to back up, so they had Ariel Huckporty. So they were a little down there.
Yeah, the Knicks were a little thin.
Yeah, so nothing to complain about, but they got into foul trouble. Once they had in the fourth quarter and they had Cat out there and their whole lineup, they're just better. And you give the ball to Jalen Brunson, the 4th best player of the series, according to some, and you just let him go to work. And they had a 9-0 run in the fourth quarter, and then they just kind of kept him at bay. They were just the better team. It wasn't pretty always, but that's what you do in the playoffs. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty. You just win. And that's what they've done.
Yeah, listen, it's playoff basketball, and you got to give the Knicks a lot of credit when, first I think it's 5 wins in a row now after going down.
Yeah, it's tied for the second most, their second longest playoff win streak in franchise history.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, you handle your business against Atlanta after a little bit of a wake-up call in games 2 and 3 when they didn't play their best, and they come out game 1, dominate, play really well, and yeah, you're going to run into some of these grinder games. And like you said, sometimes it's maybe it's a momentum thing. Maybe it's guys kind of, some of the supporting role guys kind of dig in and get a little more motivated when the star is out, whatever it may be. The Sixers came to play in game 2, but the Knicks did what they have to do and did what championship caliber teams do in the playoffs. And that's find ways to win when they have to. So you got to give the Knicks a lot of credit, but now they got to go. They got to go take care of business.
Well, the biggest thing for the rest of the series and really the rest of the playoffs is OG Anunoby's health. Because as much as I was just kind of making fun of Colin Cowherd for saying he's the second best player in the series, I think he's the third. He might be the second best player in the series behind Jalen Brunson. He's the best. He has been maybe the best 2-way player in the entire playoffs in terms of his defensive presence and his ability to lock up on the wing, and then offensively. I mean, he's averaged just over 21 points a game in this postseason. Yeah. He's shooting 64% from the field. This series, last series, he shot 61% from the field, and he shot 56% from 3 last series. This series, 44%. So yeah, he's shooting 53% from the field and 62% from the field, 53 from deep. He's been unbelievable, and his defense has been game-changing. He left late in the game with a hamstring injury. Obviously, Knicks Twitter went into a panic. The report today was it is a hamstring strain, but it's so mild that they're actually saying he's a game time decision for game 3. So
Yeah.
I was thinking he'd be shut down for the series. They'd have to try to win this series without him and then hopefully get him back for what could be a series probably against the Pistons, but maybe the Cavs, which they would need him back for. Luckily, it seems like they dodged a little bit of a bullet. Yeah. I'll say this. If he's even a little injured, you sit him for game 3. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Yeah. No, you got to give this guy rest because, you mentioned it. Pistons or Cavs, whoever comes out of that series, right? If the Knicks are going to make a run to the NBA Finals, OG Anunoby is going to be huge, especially on the defensive end in that Eastern Conference Final series against either the Pistons or the Cavs, where they have really good wing players who you're going to have to deal with. And OG Anunoby is going to be tasked with guarding some of the better players on the Pistons or the Cavs.
So good. He's so good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. If there's, especially with a muscle thing with the hamstring, if there's you don't, especially up to nothing, you don't like to look ahead. You don't want to take the series for granted, but you're not in a position where you have to push a guy to come back from injury and risk him getting hurt.
Because of what he does defensively, like, he's clearly the Knicks' second most important player. It's not close. And he's closer to Brunson than he is to the third best player in terms of importance, in terms of the long-term success.
Yeah.
Because of his ability to guard 1 through 5 and his ability to rebound, be a scoring option. He's so good. Before we move on, I do want to give 2 shout-outs to guys I have been very critical of in the past. Karl Anthony Towns, shout-out number 1. They have adjusted the offense, and also to shout-out to Mike Brown, who I've also been critical of. They have adjusted the offense where he's kind of running a point center, and they're running a lot of offense through him, and it's changed everything.
Yeah.
Where when they've turned this corner since the 2 losses.
Yeah.
He had in that game 4 against Atlanta, he had 20, 10, and 10. Then he had 16, 14, and 6. Then he had 12, 11, and 10. This series he's had 17, 6, and 6, 20, 10, and 7. Like, his assist numbers have gone drastically up. He averaged 3 assists during the regular season. So they've worked everything through him. He's bought in, and he has been critical for them on offense. The only thing that he needs to do better is not get into foul trouble. That would be the only complaint. He has to stop fouling. But shout out to him because I've been critical of how he fits into this whole thing. And right now he's doing a phenomenal job. The other guy is Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Shout out Mikal Bridges because I was not happy with him, especially when they lost back-to-back. And he had 0 points in game 3, and he was 3 for 10 in game 2 in their 2 losses. And since then, he only had 8 points in game 4, and he only had 7 points in game 5, but he was 3 of 4, 3 of 6. Game 6, that crazy game, 24 points, 10 of 12, 17 points, 7 of 10, 18 points, 9 of 13. So in this Philly series, he's averaging 18 points on 70% shooting.
That'll get the job done.
And he's incredibly defensive. He's incredible defensively. He always has been. So that's never been a knock. So now he's playing defense, and now he is making this as a 4th scorer on this team.
Yeah.
If he can just he's going to get open looks, and if he can knock them down, the Knicks are going to be incredibly difficult for anyone to beat.
Yeah.
And those have been the 2 biggest differences in my opinion. Shout out Knicks. Listen, I've been a Mets, Knicks, Dolphins fan for 31 years of my life. It's a miracle. I don't know if you'd even call it that. It's crazy that I got into sports as my job because sports have brought me tons of pain, misery, and sadness in 0 championships. So anytime one of my teams is playing well in the playoffs, it holds a special place in my heart. And hopefully one day one of my teams can win a championship. Because right now it surely doesn't look like the Mets. Maybe the Knicks. And it certainly won't be the Dolphins for a while. Shout out Jeff Halfley. We're turning it around. Anyway, Celtics.
Speaking of a team that's not winning a championship.
No, but they've won plenty, Brian, okay? I'm not going to get out the tissues for you, Rudman. I'm not going to get out the tissues for the Celtics Red Sox fan here. But that being said, maybe I'll give you 1 Kleenex in honor of the fallen Boston Celtics.
Can I get one for the Jets?
No.
Okay.
That's just funny for everyone.
I disagree with that. I very much disagree with that. Yeah, listen, the Celtics just flat out got outplayed.
If you want to talk about the Jets instead of the Celtics, we can do that.
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, the Celtics fall in Game 7 and blow a 3-1 lead. Your thoughts?
They just, I mean, it's just not good.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts are, yeah, listen, they just flat out got outplayed, and, you know, you rightfully so critical of what Joel Embiid has been in the Knicks series. He was really, really good down the stretch of the Celtics series and really flipped it around. But, you know, regardless of what Joel Embiid came in and did, the Celtics were up 3-1. Like, they won the first game handily on the road that Embiid played. And, you know, it's not like Embiid was struggling to get going in that game. I mean, the guy scored 26 points and had 10 boards in Game 4, and the Celtics won by 30. So, you know, I think this is really just, I don't know whether they kind of got ahead of themselves in Game 5 when they were up 10 and just thought they were going to cruise to the series win. But, I mean, they didn't show up down the stretch. They didn't show up at all in Game 6. And, you know, Tatum being out for Game 7's tough, but, you know, they played most of the year without him. So
you also, you're certainly not doing this. And I don't think a lot of Celtics fans have done this, so credit to them. But you can't use the Jason Tatum excuse.
No, they had their shots.
Because Joel Embiid didn't play for most of the series. So, like, the wins they did get, the wins they did get, they didn't have Joel Embiid for those games. So, I mean.
Yeah, the Celtics were 1-3 when Embiid played. They were 1-2 when Embiid and Tatum played. So, it's, when these teams were at full strength, the Sixers were the better team. But the Celtics had their shots in Game 5 and 6 to close it out, and they couldn't.
And a lot of people are criticizing Joe Mazzulla for, like, really changing up how they've kind of, like, maybe went away from some of the bench guys a little bit towards the end. And that's been a criticism. And I would just say you can look at it two ways. You could criticize Joe Mazzulla for changing things, but I think the other way you can look at it is giving him credit for how good they were in the regular season to maybe make it seem like they were better than they were.
Yeah.
So, like, they got the fact that they won 50-something games in the regular season is more of a credit to Mazzulla, I think, in getting those guys ready to play.
Especially without Tatum for so long.
For so many of them. That's my main point is, like, without him, and having to readjust to that, and they were still the number 2 team in the East. Yeah, I think it was a little bit of fool's gold because I think you get into the playoffs, and they are very reliant on the 3-pointer.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's a criticism you can have of him.
Yeah.
Because, in Game 6, they shot 11 and 30 of 33 from 3. And in Game 7, they shot 13 of 49. Yeah. And they're just never going to win games when they shoot like that. And you're not going to win games when you have, I know two of them didn't play much, 3 guys in the starting lineup who scored 0 points.
Right.
Now, Ron Harper Jr. played 4 minutes and Luka Garza played 9, but Bailey Shireman, who had a great regular season, but again, they kind of went away from him early in the season and series and didn't play him as much, and now you're working him in at the end. Say, like, Vucevic played in games, not in games. The rotations were a little strange.
Yeah.
So that's a fair criticism, but again, I just don't think that anyone was making shots at the end of the series, and I don't think that they were as good as they maybe appeared in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think they had their chances. I mean, to come out, regardless of whether Tatum's in the lineup, to get outscored 32-19 in the first quarter of a Game 7 on your home floor it's just an unacceptable performance if you're a team that wants to go on and win a championship. And they weren't making their shots. They didn't play good enough defense. And, I think that's kind of just this team didn't show up when they had to.
And, again, we talked about Derek White needing to be better. And sure, he had 26 points in Game 7, but he shot 9 of 26 and 5 of 16 from 3. He was just shooting. Yeah. And he was not good enough this series to be
it was
second
a
or
shooting
third
by
option.
volume. Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see where we go from here. It does seem weird with the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum stuff. We've got Jaylen Brown on Twitch saying that this was his favorite season ever. That was bizarre.
It's odd when you've won a championship.
You've won a championship, but this season that Jason Tatum didn't play and you were the guy you're now saying is your favorite season ever. Strange. There's Jaylen Brown for Giannis rumors now stewing up on ESPN. Who knows if those are real or not.
Oh boy.
So I don't know. We'll see if those two are going to play together. That I think is in question at least, whether they're going to keep both of them or.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, and we don't need to dig too much into it, that like this team was also flawed at the end of last season, and that's why they lost to the Knicks in the first place.
Yeah.
Sure, they lost Tatum, but
they were losing that. They were losing that series.
And
regardless.
if they won this series, I'm not just saying this. I think the Knicks blow them out.
The way they're playing now, yeah.
I don't think the Celtics. Maybe the Celtics just get hot out of nowhere,
right?
But I also just don't think that some of their players are very good. Like I just don't like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this isn't.
They have their top two guys, and Derek White is the X factor, and the rest of them are just kind of guys. Like,
yeah, I mean, Peyton Pritchard has his moments off the bench, but this was never a very deep team. And
but and especially if they're getting guarded by if you have OG and McHale on the other two, and then you have Josh Hart running around. I don't think that would be a great matchup for them either way. Celtics, we bid you adieu. We're gonna take a quick break. Welcome back. Well, it's not just playoff season in basketball. It is also on the ice. We saw the Sabres advance past the Bruins, and now they take a Game 1 lead on Montreal. They win Game 1 4-2. They went up 2-0. They gave up a goal. It was 2-1, and then after one, it was. Again, they scored 2 goals. Montreal scored 1 in the second. They went up 3-1, and then it was 4-1 and then 4-2. So they really controlled the game throughout. They scored 5 minutes in, a couple power play chances that they converted. And now, obviously, going into it, Buffalo is going into the season, it's like that. They're going to be the fun. They have no chance. And then it's like, they're the fun, plucky team. Even going into the postseason as good as they were with 50 wins, it was like, wow, we're happy to be here. Now I think as it goes on, it's like this is a team with a real chance. Because they're playing great hockey right now.
Yeah, they're playing great hockey. I think one of the most impressive things to me is that they won all 3 on the road, went into TD Garden and won all 3 games there. Took care of business on home ice in Game 1 against the Canadiens. I think it goes from the storyline in the opening round series was very much this is the first time in over a decade that this franchise has been there. Everyone's just happy and thrilled, and they had the huge Game 1 win, and then you go take care of the Bruins in 5 games, and it's, hey, we're a number 1 seed for a reason here. Like Buffalo, this is a team with legitimate Stanley Cup aspirations. They won a very good Atlantic Division with 4 teams, reached the 100-point mark on the season. Montreal's a good team, but the Sabres looked real good in Game 1. And, listen, when you're at home, you got to win Game 1s. You got to win at home. Yep. Got to take care of business on home ice, and they did that in Game 1.
Yeah. And now they go into Game 2. Just trying to, again, like you just said, maintain the home ice advantage. Obviously huge in hockey. And I think that this is a team that there's obviously a lot of spread out focus with NBA playoffs and NHL. And I think the Stanley Cup, as it goes on, it gets more and more attention. And I just think that this is going to be a team that if they can keep playing this way, I think that any team who doesn't have a dog in the fight, people are going to rally around the Sabres because their fan base has been so starved for this, and especially with the Sabres and the Bills. Obviously, the Bills have been great, but haven't broken through.
Yeah.
I just feel like people already identify with their fan base.
Yeah.
And the more that this goes on, I think we're going to see them kind of become America's team, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with 1,000%. You know, I think you think back to when the Bills first got good, and I was in college at Oswego, which is, hour east of Rochester, 2 hours east of Buffalo. There are a lot of kids from Western New York there, and I was in college when the Bills first got good, and they were going crazy. They were thrilled. And as much as I may not have liked it as a Jets fan, you can kind of recognize fan bases who have been through a lot and haven't won a ton. So to see the Buffalo fans have their other team reach the playoffs and have a real shot, the Bills haven't delivered for them yet in the postseason. The Sabres seem like they got a good shot to do that this year. So it is cool to see when it's not one of my team's rivals out of Buffalo. It's kind of cool to see them give those fans something to cheer about.
Here's a live reaction that I just saw that the Mets were tied 2-2 with the Rockies, and Craig Kimbrell just gave up a grand slam. No longer tied. So I got distracted for a second.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're going to win the series.
We'll get back to the Mets.
Step at a time.
We'll
All right.
Get back to the Mets.
Speaking of playoff hockey, the Adirondack Thunder fall in Game 7 to the Maine Mariners. And obviously, you're never happy about losing a series. But I do have to say, shout out to the Thunder because they went down 3-1 in this series. And all of these games have been close. We've now said it, but three of these games this series went to overtime. Yep. 11 of the 18 meetings between these two teams have gone to overtime. So these are two. Sylvain Cloutier has called them the main, he's like their twin.
Yeah,
they play very similar styles. These guys have been in dogfights, and the Thunder go down 3-1. They go to overtime in Game 5, win it in overtime. They are down with their backs against the wall in Game 6 with under 2 minutes to go, down a goal, score a goal with 1:23 to go, force overtime, win in overtime to force Game 7. And then Game 7, it was they got out to a 1-0 lead, gave it up on a tough shorthander that just broke away. And then, they gave up a goal in the third period with about 4 minutes left, and then there was an empty netter. They ended up losing 3-1. So not obviously the result, but, they fought really hard, and they did not have home ice advantage, and that could have been a part of it, especially in a Game 7 scenario. But all in all, don't like to get in 3-1, but the whole, but, they responded very well, and they just couldn't pull it out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough way to go, but I think when you look at where this team was at a year ago, where they had a very disappointing season and didn't make the playoffs, and you bring in Cloutier, and who's saying we got to get better defensively and we got to get back to the playoffs. That's exactly what they did this year. And going into the series, I don't think anyone was surprised it went to 7. I don't think anyone was surprised there were overtime games. And I don't think anyone was surprised that with 5 minutes left on the clock in the third period, the game was tied at 1. So, they knew this was going to be a battle going in. That's exactly what it was. I'm sure I'm sure as with any time you lose a playoff series, there are little moments that you want to have back. I'm sure Game 3 they want to have some moments back when, they kind of struggled on home ice. But listen, they battled to the end. They fought back. And, at the end of the day, sometimes the puck luck just doesn't go your way. And, that's what it was this time around.
We're going to take a quick break. We are talking UAlbany lacrosse, 2 champions, next in sports. Welcome back. Before we get to UAlbany lacrosse, just a shout out to both Siena lacrosse teams as well.
Yeah.
Both make it to their championship games. The Siena men's team, obviously, they've had adversity all season with the passing of their head coach, Liam Gleason, and how head coach Tim Cox and that team has navigated it has been special. And then in the semifinal, their goalie, Vito DeBellis, has a scary injury. They don't have him for the final game. Still lose close to Maris. So just want to give a shout out to both of those teams. And the Siena women as a 5 seed, making a run, getting to the championship game. Special stuff from both of those teams. And, they should have their heads held very high. And they both had incredible seasons. With that being said, we move to UAlbany, and where we have 2 champions. We'll start with the men because they won their 3rd championship in a row.
Yeah.
3rd America East title in a row. They beat Vermont 14-11 in a close game after really blowing out UMBC 14-3. And I think that if you've been following UAlbany lacrosse this year, even I think more than some others, it's been glaringly obvious that I think that this was the way it was going. I mean, they went undefeated in conference play. They came into the year nationally ranked. They've lost close games, really tough games out of conference to really good teams.
Yeah.
Were their only losses because they are 11-5 now. Speaking of Liam, like Scott said, this is for Liam because, again, as much as he was the Siena head coach, he played at UAlbany. He was very close with Scott Marr. Liam also coached at UAlbany before Siena. They dedicated this to him as well, which was special. But they did fall behind in this game, 8-5, and they crawled back. Were able to take the lead even before the fourth quarter. Yeah. And from that point, kind of wrote it out.
Yeah, I think the experience of this team showed in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and Silas Richmond, who's drafted, what was it, 5th overall in the PLL
he's really good at
draft.
lacrosse.
He's really good at lacrosse. He's
really good.
The 2-time America East Offensive Player of the Year. He said post game, he was like, at a certain point, they kind of realized that this could, they got to get it going, or else this is the last game.
And he had 4 goals and 3 assists, and they had 7 points. He had 7 points.
He had 7 points.
Safe to say he got it going.
Yeah, 2 huge goals. He had the game timed.
The backhand was sick.
Yeah, he had the goal to tie it at 9, and the go-ahead goal was a backhand shovel shot that just.
And you know what? Go vote for it if you want to on Play of the Week, because it was nominated for Play of the Week.
There you go.
Go to news10.com, local sports page, find Play of the Week. Click on which play you'd like to select to vote. I've read that maybe a million times in my life.
Probably. I think the group's experience, Vermont's a very good team, but, UAlbany, they got it going, and, they were really in control that 4th quarter. And, after the game, head coach Scott Marr talked about how they really had to earn this one. And this was, he was talking about how tough it was for them to get through this game. And this is a team who's, had some adversity throughout the year, and they've dealt with it really well. And, I think the experience and just the will to win really showed from this team.
And they're going to play North Carolina in the NCAA tournament on Saturday at noon. The 3rd team in the country.
Yeah.
So it's a tough task, but and I think that they might have liked and maybe even deserved a better draw in terms of maybe playing. I saw a lot of predictions had them playing Cornell again, who was like around the 5th spot. I'll just say that if there was going to be a team that would be able to pull an upset, I wouldn't be shocked if it was UAlbany, just because they play a certain style of lacrosse. They have a great head coach, Scott Marr, who's been here before. They have players who have now been there before, who have experience. They've gone, this is their 3rd year in a row for some of them, 2nd year in a row for others, and for the first timers, they've played really good teams this season, and also, they can get some pointers from the guys who have been there before. So all of that, and also they just have top tier talent where, Silas Richmond, if he gets hot, I'm sure North Carolina's going to do what they can to try to take him away, but they have one of the best players in the entire country. Yeah, not debatable. And if that's the kind of guy who can get going, and whether that's him scoring or feeding others and helping and setting up others with shots, if he gets going, anything is possible. They also have Max Neeson leading their defense, who wasn't picked in the PLL draft. Scott Marr thinks he should have been and could get an opportunity after his college career as well. So they have a lot of talent. This isn't, the same as, the NCAA tournament in basketball, which we saw what Siena could do. So anything is possible.
Yeah.
Where the talent disparity is massive. Like, it's not as big as it could be. Now North Carolina is a very deep, talented team. They're going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, would I be shocked if Albany could pull off the upset? Not shocked.
Yeah. The talent's
Maybe
there. The talent's there. I think the one thing, talked to Mar this morning as they were leaving, we did the interview, and, he's talking about they can't have those lapses in time where they just let the other team go on a run. And that's kind of what's bitten them in their matchups against, there are 3 other teams that they played on their schedule who are in the bracket this year. So they've played talented teams. Yeah. There have just been some of those lapses throughout the season. And, you got to play a full 60 minutes this weekend if you're going to pull the upset.
And again, adjusting to people trying to take Silas away, but people have been trying to do that all year. And again, Scott Marr, I'm sure will have a game plan because he's a great, great coach.
He usually does.
Yeah. And then also the Albany women, really impressive. They grind out their tournament as the 2 seed. On the road in Vermont to a Vermont team they lost to 14-4 at the end of the regular season, and it wasn't a game that they were just going through the motions. That was a game that they could have earned home field. So that was a game they wanted to win. It started with being Bryant in the semifinals, and they got up in that game 10-6, and Bryant all of a sudden came back to tie it at 11 with 1:55 to go. They're able to score and take the lead and never look back. And then you go to Vermont. Vermont jumps out to the early lead, and they were up 5-1 in this game. And going into the half, Albany was able to tie it up, and played a really impressive second half to build their lead up at one point to 13-8, 5-goal lead in their advantage. And Vermont comes back, scores a couple late, but didn't get within reach. So really impressive for Katie Thompson's bunch to have the kind of performance they did after, how they played the first time around against Vermont.
Yeah, I mean, that first Vermont game, that was a letdown. Like, they, talking to them before they went up to Vermont for the tournament, they were hungry to prove that was the outlier and not what it was going to be. Yeah. And, I think you knew it was going to be a close game with Bryant. It was in the regular season. They played them in the championship last year when they won. You knew that was going to be a close game. They found a way to win. They willed their way to the win. And then really impressive, a couple weeks after you lose to a team by 10 goals, you fall behind 5-1 in the second quarter. That can very easily spiral. It can very easily become they're just better than us. It wasn't. They responded. After they went down 5-1, took less than a minute for Katrina Rowe to net an answer and kind of get this team back on track. And just a really impressive win for this team.
They get Johns Hopkins, the 4 seed or the number 4 overall team on Friday, 3:00, and also playing at Hopkins on Friday.
Yeah,
is Brigid Duffy, the Queensbury grad for Army. She is going to be playing Fairfield in the other game. So if Albany could pull the upset and then Army wins, they could end up playing each other.
Fairfield, the team that beat Siena in the MAC.
Yes.
MAC championship.
So the other reason we want to talk about Brigid, obviously good luck to her in the tournament, but she was named a Tewaaraton finalist, which is, for those who don't know, basically the Heisman Trophy in lacrosse. For both men's and women's lacrosse. It's awarded to the most outstanding player in the nation. She was the first player in program history for the Army women to be named to that list.
Right.
And the Army program is a great program, so that says a lot. I think she scored, 70 goals this year?
70 goals, 28 assists.
28 assists, yep. And she led the nation in goals per game, or no, 5th in the nation, in goals per game with 389 goals per contest. So pretty impressive stuff. We've talked about her a lot. She got drafted. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, she got drafted in the first ever WLL Women's Lacrosse League draft, and she goes, in the top 3, and now she's a Tewaaraton finalist. And at this point, our story with her is aired, so you can check it out online. But always very gracious, very humble, gives a lot of credits to her teammates. So congrats to her on that award. That'll come out later in the month, whether she won it or not. So we will stay locked in for that. I think it's May 26th that comes out. And good luck to her as well. We will be following them at Hopkins as well as the UAlbany women's lacrosse team. But we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are talking baseball. All right, welcome back to 10 for 10. We're going to go through baseball quickly here right now. The New York Mets we'll start with, just because I would say that they've been one of the more eventful teams in baseball this year for bad reasons. They have turned it around a little bit. You got to give them credit. Since Mendoza came out, and I'm just watching the Mets make the final out to lose to the Rockies, which updates what I was going to say. They were 4-1 entering the day since Stearns came out and gave Mendoza a vote of confidence.
Right.
So they've turned it around a little bit. They even though they won the series against the Angels on the West Coast, they took 2 of 3, and they just lost to the Rockies, but they still took 2 of 3 from them. And now they're going to Arizona. And listen, for the Mets, it's about stacking series at this point. You just need to win series because you can't get it all back in a day. They're now 14-23.
Yeah.
You're not going to get all of that back at once. But it is a long season because as much as we've talked about the Mets, they entered the day 5.5 back of the third wild card spot. Now we're wild card watch at this point.
Right.
But it just goes to show that, it doesn't.
It's early May.
The Red Sox, as bad as they've played, are a game and a half out of a playoff spot.
Well within striking distance.
So it's like it's very early. For the Mets, I think they've really started to turn around offensively with a lot of guys who were not supposed to be here.
Right.
But shout out to Carson Bench. He's been magnificent after a really slow start as a rookie. He was in a really bad spot, struggling as a rookie for a team that was not producing. And he's really turned it around. Soto was red hot, then kind of got cold. He's back. Semien went 4 for 5 the other night. Vientos has started to hit. Melendez has been unbelievable. I never want to see Austin Slater again, but let's talk about the positives for a little bit. So the Mets, and they figured out the pitching a little bit. Christian Scott was great again today. Peterson's been better in the piggyback role with an opener.
Yep.
So he's been better. Devin Williams has improved in the bullpen. So things are looking up. Everything's not fixed.
Right.
But it's looking up for the New York Mets. I'll cover them. I'll let you cover the Red Sox because we're running low on time.
Sounds good.
But first, we'll jointly talk about the New York Yankees.
Okay.
They're
playing well. They're really playing good. Well. Could really we not?
How about Cherie DeVaux throughout the first pitch?
Yes, there you go.
At the Yankee game today, which is, if you're watching this, it was on Thursday with Jose Ortiz. And the day before that, Anna Gold, who is a Boston Spa alum, who played softball at Duke and now plays in the professional league. She threw out the first pitch the day before that.
Yeah.
So Capital Region people throwing out first pitches at Yankee games.
There you go.
Anyway,
that's the headline.
They're playing really well. They won their series with the Rangers after a 4-game sweep of the Orioles. They're 26-12. Not a lot of complaints for the Yankees right now. Jason Dominguez did get hurt in a really scary injury, smashing into the wall. So their outfield depth with Stanton out, obviously he doesn't play the outfield, but they've got guys playing it for him, is going to be tested a little bit. We've got Tommy Valentine foaming at the mouth that Spencer Jones is going to get called up at the sports department. He started barking at one point. He was so excited. I'm just kidding. But that could be a possibility for them, although I don't know if they're going to do that for a short run to fill in for an injury.
Yeah, we'll see.
But they're playing really well, and I mean, their winning percentage is .684, so they're tied for the best in baseball with the Cubs, who are red hot, and the Braves. So What are your thoughts on that, Brian?
Listen, the Yankees are really good, but they got to keep doing it, right? The Tampa Bay Rays are equally red hot right now, and they're a game behind them. So, we talk about going into the year, the talk was they got to be better in the regular season to set themselves up for an October run. So far, they're doing that. Long way to go. They got to keep it going. But this is a really, really good team, and they're going to be there the entire way.
All right, Brian, you got about 4 minutes.
Okay. The Red Sox swept the series. All is well in Boston. No.
They swept it.
They
did, though.
They swept the Tigers. They swept the Tigers.
They lost series to the Astros and the Blue Jays, but before that, they had won one with the Orioles. So, starting to look in the right direction.
The Chad Tracy era.
Listen, the Chad Sox are.
Is that what the Chad Sox.
I saw somebody give them that nickname.
I hadn't heard that before, but I like that. No, listen, there are still, right, they went to Detroit, they swept them, they caught a break with Skubal's injury, they didn't have to face him. They got to Framber Valdez, and we all saw how that went down with the beaning of Trevor Story.
I'm not even going to get into that because I'll take up all 4 minutes.
We don't have enough time. And then they took care of business on Wednesday night. I think, they went opener before Brian Bayo and kind of allowed him to ease into the game. They got him a lead, and that seemed to work.
Peterson.
Yeah, that seemed to work very well. Listen, considering that Crochet's on the injured list and Roman Anthony took an injury in Detroit, and Ranger Suarez left after 4 innings on Sunday, which I was there. That was not a fun moment when you realized that Ranger Suarez was hurt. There are some positives for this team. They're a little injured. Sonny Gray came back, looked really good. They needed that because their pitching depth is very quickly being tested. But they're starting to turn a corner, like you said. They're, a game and a half out of a third wild card. It's still early. They're 5 games below 500. Was not fun to watch them go 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position on Sunday. But it's all good, and happy 60th birthday, Dad.
Yeah, shout out Mr. Rudman. Happy birthday. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Happy Mother's Day, too.
Do you have any other wishes to give anyone?
I think I'm good.
Shout out to you, people. I don't know. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Enjoy.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy birthday, Mr. Rudman. Shout out Rudman. And we went 10 for 10.
There we go. We went 10 for 10.
We went 10 for 10 with time to spare that we got birthday wishes for Mr. Rudman and a happy Mother's Day.
There we go.
We'll see you next week.